Hello everyone and welcome to the channel. So today I want to speak about the players. We have some who are currently injured, some who are planning on joining the club, some who want to leave the club, and I believe it's the right time to talk about this. We are edging closer to the game against Granada on Sunday, and I believe that Kike Setién knows this also. He knows that he has to get a good feeling of the club. He needs to know how the players are feeling mentally, physically. He wants to know on who's planning on exiting the club and who's coming to the club. So he really wants to get a good feel of the club all around. And that's why I also want to make this video, to update you guys on the players and their current statuses. Because now that we have a new manager and we're all set and settled, now it's time to focus on these players. And now I first want to talk about Riqui Puig. It has been reported by Cadena said that they love Riqui Puig, right? We talked about this in the last video. They talked with him, getting to know him, and then it has been reported by Mundo Deportivo that Setién has asked Riqui Puig to exercise with the first team with Barcelona all week and has in mind to include him in the squad list for the match against Granada at the Camp Nou, which means that he's not going to be participating in the Barcelona B match. So basically Setién does want Riqui Puig in the first team. He doesn't want him participating in the Barcelona B match. And if we look at the squad list for Barca B, Riqui Puig is not in that list. He is with the first team. And I'm happy to see that because Setién is already trying to push the youth to step up. He's showing trust in his youth, getting to know them, and we can now potentially see Riqui Puig participate in the game against Granada. With De Jong being suspended, Arthur being injured, and Alenia at Real Betis, the chances are high for Riqui Puig to finally start in this game. So if I were to tell anything to Riqui Puig now, I would say to take advantage of this small window, because Setién is showing that he is trusting you and that all he has to do is squeeze this opportunity and get as much from it as much as possible. So I'm hoping it all goes well and he does well on Sunday if he plays. Now I want to move on to Todibo, and over the recent days he has been rumored to go to Schalke 04, and the reason why we haven't heard from him over a while is because his rumors have been overshadowed by Valverde's sacking and Setién's hiring. But now that we have that out the way and we have our manager and everything is more calm and settled, now it's a good time to be updated on it. So on Saturday night, Todibo was seen at the airport to meet with a Schalke representative, which means now we can expect him to join Schalke 04 on a loan. And it has been officially announced today, like a couple of hours ago, that he will be joining Schalke 04 for the remaining 6 months of this season until June 30th. Now, if we look into greater detail on what this loan is like, the German club paid 1.5 million for this loan, and Schalke has an option to buy him for 25 million plus 5 million in variables. Now, this is where it gets interesting. If Barcelona wants to buy him back, because there is a buyback option inserted in this loan, they would have to pay 50 million euros plus 10 million in variables. Now, in my opinion, do I think this is the best business Barcelona has done? I don't think so. They put themselves in a situation where it will be very difficult to bring Todibo back to the club, because 50 million and 10 million in variables is pretty expensive to bring back a 20-year-old player, especially since he was already ours. So it makes no sense for a club to make themselves pay that much for a defender when we already had him in the first place. So now I don't know what's going to happen with Todibo and FC Barcelona. Again, they made it very difficult. I don't see Todibo being bought for 60 million, 50 million euros. So we're going to have to see how that goes in the summer. Now moving on to Arthur Melo. It has been reported by ESPN that he has completed his last 3 training sessions and he looks very well. He seems ready to return, and we haven't seen Arthur since the game against Atletico Madrid in the Wanda Stadium last year. It is time for him to come back. We will need to see him earn his spot again in the starting 11, and I'm afraid to see Arthur become a player where he could have been or should have been, you know, like, oh, Arthur could have been this but he never became that. So I'm afraid that's going to happen. I hope it doesn't. I really want Arthur to come back to this club and work and make it work and start start in the starting 11 again. So let's keep an eye on how Kike Setién uses Arthur when he does come back, because our current manager loves having his midfielders be very creative in the midfield and become very high risk. We know his playing style. We did talk about that in my last video. Arthur is known for being very reserved and secured and making sure that every pass goes directly to the player. So now under our current coach, it's going to be very interesting to see Arthur become more direct and consistently make more decisive and risky passes in the game. So yeah, I can't wait to see that. When Arthur comes back, we will probably see a different version of Arthur Melo. Now I want to move on to Dembélé. It has been reported by Sport that Dembélé will be fully recovered in 3 weeks. It has been said that he is looking to come back and convince Kike Setién that he is ready, and he is ready to show why he should start in the starting 11. And so that's great for Dembélé. I would really like to see him come back to the squad as soon as possible, because we know, and the media knows, and everyone knows, that Suarez will not be with us for these next 6 months of the season because he is injured. So now Dembélé's importance has increased tremendously for Barcelona, and we will need him. And look, I know that Dembélé does not play that center role like Suarez, but our attacking options are very versatile. For example, we could put Griezmann on the left, Messi in the center, and Dembélé on the right. Or another option could be Dembélé on the left, Griezmann in the center, and Messi on the right. The third option could be Ansu Fati on the left, Messi in the center, and Dembélé on the right. So you get the point, right? A lot of our players can play different positions. It's all going to depend on what Kike Setién wants to do with this club and how he wants to run the team. Some elements of his style of play could be injected into Barcelona, but some of Barcelona's style could remain. It's very tough to predict what the lineup could be and how the system is going to run under our current new manager. But in the end, our attacking options are versatile enough to work around Suarez's absence and adapt to whatever Kike Setién wants to do in that final third. And Dembélé is the man that we know is determined to make a mark at the Camp Nou. So Dembélé, Barcelona is calling. We will need you, and we will need you in your best physical condition. Now moving on to Marc-Andre Ter Stegen. It has been reported by Cope Ter Stegen has trained with the squad normally and could return for the Granada game on Sunday. He did suffer a right knee injury a couple weeks ago. Because of that, we had to play Neto against Atletico Madrid in the Spanish Super Cup semifinal, and I greatly miss this guy because in my opinion, Neto hasn't really impressed for Barcelona. He's been a very decent goalkeeper. He does make great saves here and there, but I don't think he is that goalkeeper where we could say, okay, if Ter Stegen is not here, we have Neto and we are going to be in good hands. I don't feel like that with him. I still feel like he's a little shaky in goal and his decision making is not the best. We even saw that against Atletico Madrid. He gave Atletico Madrid a penalty, so he doesn't make the smartest decisions. So for now, Ter Stegen is the better goalkeeper by a mile. So I can't wait to see him back and hope to hear that he does get that green light soon. Now, lastly, I want to speak about Kike Setién. Even though we haven't played our first game yet, I'm really impressed on seeing what he is doing outside of the Camp Nou. For example, yesterday it was reported that today was supposed to be Barcelona's day off. Like they were gonna go to like some party for whatever reason, but reporters has stated that Kike Setién canceled that and scheduled a closed door training session at 11 a.m. Setién said that he does not want to waste time and he wants to get to know his players better to prepare his Barca debut against Granada. So now that I think about it, it's true. Like, why would Barcelona get a day off after coming back from a 2-week holiday? So to me, it was right for Setién to say, this is what's going on and this is what needs to be done because we have to prepare. He wants to let his players know that there is still work to be done. And I highly appreciate that. You can tell that he wants to be a presence in the training ground. He wants to let the players know that he is in command, not the players. And it has also been reported by Sport that Setién met with Abidal, Ramon, Oscar Grau, and Bartomeu. They ended up making 2 decisions, which was no more player exits, meaning Vidal will stay, and signing a forward this month to replace Luis Suarez could be an option. So like I said before in the beginning of the video, he really wants to get a good feel of the squad. He wants to know immediately who he's going to be able to work with. So he's a very prepared and accountable man. And lastly, lastly, I want to end with this. He was seen at the Barcelona B match at the Johan Cruyff Stadium box office with his coaching staff. And he did say in the press conference yesterday that he is really invested in the youth, and if someone in the first team does not show up and does not do what he is told to do, he will not hesitate on replacing that first team player with a youth academy player. And that's why he's there. He wants to know who's doing well, who's standing out, who looks like they could be playing in the first team. So not only does he want to get to know his first team, he wants to get to know the academy players. And I believe with all this extra work he is doing in order to prepare for these next 6 months will pay off greatly, not just for him, but for the club FC Barcelona. So that's it for today's video. That is what is looking like for these players. That is their statuses, and Kike Setién is here to make a statement at the Camp Nou. Thank you guys for watching. I will be making a pre-match preview for the game against Granada and a post-match analysis after that game. And I cannot wait for that game because everyone on the internet is keeping a very close eye on the coach, like what I'm doing right now, because we have been craving to have a new coach for over the past 19 to 20 months. So for this to finally happen, we are so invested in this that we are all looking forward for that game on Sunday. So that pre-match preview will happen and that post-match analysis will happen. So stay tuned for that. Subscribe to the channel if you're new to this channel. Subscribe if you want to get updated on anything that happens in FC Barcelona. This is the channel. So let me know what you guys think about our current coach. What do you think our starting 11 is going to look like under Kike Setién on Sunday? Again, thank you guys for watching. I'll see you guys next time.